It really just seems like, when I go from neighborhood to neighborhood, state to state, city to city, yeah, it's a lot of differences, but, the common thing I'm starting to see in this nation, just me as a over the road truck driver, is one common theme. Now, there's a lot of similarities, but I just want to use this video for this targeted discussion just to kind of enlighten y'all on, just a perspective that I've been forming since I've been exposed to all these different states and cities and things of that nature, right? So, if y'all new to the channel, y'all tapped in with the Head of the Game podcast. Y'all read the title, let's get right into it. So, obviously, with any system, right? Especially a complex system that's set in place to function in a certain way to get a certain outcome based on whatever variables you have in that equation, right? So if you look at most metropolises or most major cities, you got your hood, your ghettos, your projects, then you got your suburbs, your upper class, your gated communities. And there's one common theme that I want to just expose to y'all, right? Because, you can look at classism, could be looked at as the new racism. And what do I mean by that? And this is like a multi-layered, intertwined discussion, so I don't want to make it so much about one thing that the real thing that I'm trying to drive to y'all gets missed. So if you look at all the things, all the type of businesses that are in ghettos, in hoods, in these projects, in these disenfranchised, communities, you got liquor stores, you got dispensaries, you got payday loan places, you got pawn shops, you got plasma centers, you got low income, low budget grocery stores. You don't see what do they call that? Whole Foods, or what's the other one? Is that there's more. There's certain places that Whole Foods is probably definitely one of the biggest ones, right? Where you won't see that inside of the projects, as far as like organic, real produce and food and things of that nature, right? So have me really sit up there thinking like, capitalism in its true nature is exploitation of the people that are placed in a specific space that are ignorant towards the machine they're being played a part of, right? So, for instance, if you got liquor stores, you got gas stations, you got processed foods, like KFC and, all these fast food restaurants and things of that nature, right? Initially, what you're saying is that these people that live here are going to be taxed or interest out the yin yang, because that's how them pawn shops hit you. That's how them payday loans hit you. We don't have access to great produce, or aside from that, when you got gas stations, liquor stores, smoke shops, things of that nature, look at the demographics that usually own these places, right? It's usually like the foreigners, so on and so forth. And, they just come in here and they already know the play, right? They already know the play. They just like, all right, our main consumer base, if I'm going to go to a liquor store. Now, why would a liquor store and a smoke shop be there, right? Because generally, most of those people, me included, we don't practice good health habits. We don't have good health habits. So, if you got health problems, then this is a multifaceted exploitation of a certain class of people. So, I'll put it to you like this, right? If you smoking, you drinking, you harming your body. If you develop a health problem or you get sick, so on and so forth, you got to go to the hospital. If you go to the hospital, then the health care coverage you may have might be by the government. So the government is now paying the hospital to make sure you get well. Now, government paid anything is going to be the lowest tier of any level of anything that you have access to, right? So if you got government health care, whether that be Medicare, Medicaid, so on and so forth, right? That's the lowest tier of healthcare because you're not paying the premium of getting accessible top tier advantage healthcare. So it's just kind of like going to your local shop instead of going to the dealership, getting your car worked on, and maybe they fix one thing, but maybe they end up messing something else up, and then you got to go back to the mechanic. That's pretty much the analogy I could put. But to stay on course with this thought, right, is that this game of exploitation, like I said, we get taxed more relative to what we make, right? Based off of the interest of payday loans or getting cash advances or getting, people selling food stamps, they selling, they selling drugs, whatever the case may be. It's just a very negative environment. And systematically, the higher paying jobs aren't in those communities either. So you got low wages, bad health, or bad things you're doing to your health, mid-tier to low-tier health care, low access to money because you got payday loans in the hood, but then you got big banks and things of that sense in the upscale, higher, more modernized, parts of town. And I'm just painting this picture for y'all to see that if you do not educate yourself, me included, you got to pick a side. There's no playing neutral. There is no, I'm going to just go home and just live my life. Just leave me alone. You got to pick a side. Do you want to live better? Do you want to do better? Or you're going to be subjected to allowing this system to exploit you and take advantage of you. Because if you don't save, and I don't know, I don't want to turn this to a financial video. I just really want to drive home the point that we really don't care that much for each other in a general sense. Like, we care for each other and about ourselves to a certain extent, but I do feel like we're the only ones in this space that is set up to where a certain statistic is going to be prevalent, right? So you could be that 2 out of 10 person, right? If there's 10 people and then 2 out of the 10 ends up beating the odds, beating the statistics, and end up breaking through, you would be considered an anomaly, right? And that's where I'm going to leave this conversation at. That just because you made it or you can do it, understand that this society is nothing but a big game of musical chairs. Lots of people standing, looking for a seat, looking for a position to play in this society, and the others are going to be left standing, left with the bag left open. So I wouldn't be a person that'd be like, okay, I made it out, I beat the statistics, I'm ahead, so therefore that makes me this great person, right? Yeah, I got great things about me that's helped me beat and exceed expectations. But looking at it in a macro perspective, I'm still looked at as that if you put me in the average, that brings my average down because my people that represent me are compromised. So it only says so much about me. I mean, you can look at it both ways. It says a lot about me because I beat the odds, but it only says so much about me because look where I came from. Look at them. Look how my people being, treated. You feel me? Look what's going on in this world. And I can't be one of them people that just put my head in the sand and just ignore what's going on. So hopefully this gave y'all some perspective and stuff like that. Like for instance, right? Man, this is the thing that had brought me to really think about this deeply. 1 second. All right, I got a little surprise for y'all, right? This right here. Y'all see this cookie? Now let's look at right here. Contains bioengineered food ingredients, right? Now this is supposed to be a cookie. Look at all of these ingredients. Ain't a cookie just supposed to be flour, sugar, chocolate chips? What is all this? Corn syrup, wax, natural, artificial flavor. I'm just sitting up there saying, like, processed foods, things of that nature. We think we're saving a buck by getting the cheaper food, but we're really paying more in advance with our health, right? If you're going out your way doing the cheaper price or doing the cheaper option, at the same time, you're basically saying is that I'd rather pay a little bit up front and then I'll pay more interest on the back end if it compromises my health. Hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully we get to a point to where we start living better and being more inclined to what we need to start doing as a people. But that's all I got for y'all, man. Hopefully y'all like the video. Make sure y'all like it. Aside from that, thoughts, comments, leave those below. Subscribe to the channel. More videos on the way. I'm up out of here.